Welcome to On the Rise podcast. I'm Matt Ricker, here today with Carmen Widman, CNN supervising producer of Erin Burnett OutFront and the class of 1996. Carmen, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So you spoke today to students and staff about all of your experiences, both here at Iona and where you are now and how you got to where you are now. So I'd like to ask you a little bit about all that again. So I really appreciate you being here. So here at Iona, you were a broadcast media major and a journalism major.
Yes, I double majored, yep.
That's great. A lot of students still do that. I was actually a broadcast media major here as well. Great program, great classes, great professors. I'm sure you remember a lot of great professors that you had as well. First off, tell me a little bit about your career path and how you got to where you are today.
Absolutely. So when I was in my spring semester, senior year in 1996, I was able to get an internship at News 12 Westchester. It kind of set my trajectory in my career. A lot of hands-on experience. It was just, it was a great experience. I was able to go in the field, learn how to write news copy, be with the anchors, be with the talent. And at the end of that experience, they had offered me a freelance full-time position. So that really kicked off my career. I went on to work overnights, and I would write copy for the morning edition. We generally started, if I remember correctly, it was like 2 a.m., and our show was on between 6 and 9 in the morning. We worked with talents like Lisa LaRocca and Mary Calvi, who's now at CBS. And it was just it was a great path for me. It allowed me to really learn a lot of things hands-on on a very local level. It allowed me also to make some mistakes just because it was so hyper-local, and we were doing everything at the time. That led to me being there for about 2 years. I ended up running the morning show. And then I left and I went to WNBC. I worked about 2 years there, mostly overnights on Today in New York. And that was also a morning show. Very different because it was no longer, a very small studio, a very small network. It was, now I was at one of the largest places, and it was in New York. So that was quite intimidating in the beginning, to be honest. But I was able to do news writing there. I did some segment producing. I would time out the Today Show cut-ins for local news. It was a great experience.
That's great. And so tell us, throughout your career, you've had the chance to cover a lot of different stories. What would be your most memorable story that you've covered, or stories if you have one?
So there's a couple, that really stick out for me. There's 9/11 that sticks out for me. I covered the Salt Lake Winter Olympics. That was actually post 9/11. I spent a month in Salt Lake City with Lester Holt, and he was wonderful to work with, and it was a great experience being in the fields. We covered, I've actually covered, I believe it's been 7 presidential elections. So, there's a lot there, a lot of bookings, because I ended up going on to be a booking producer. And that role essentially is someone who is booking all of the experts, all of the on-air guests. It's a very competitive field. You're competitive between networks. You're competitive internally. Everybody wants to get. They want to get the interview. So
yeah. That's great. And now, in terms of presidential elections, which one would you say was like the most difficult to cover? or the most memorable to cover?
I would say the most memorable would be the 2000 election for me personally. I had worked all day, on election day. And, at one point I went home and by 3 a.m, my pager goes off, pack your bags, you're going to Austin. And that was a really unbelievable experience. I went to Austin. At the time, it was Governor Bush. We were kind of staking out the governor, trying to get interviews on the ground where we were reporting from. We went along. He ended up going to Crawford, Texas, his ranch, and we went to Crawford, Texas also. From there, they sent me to Miami, where the legal proceedings were beginning on the contested election. I ended up going to West Palm Beach, where the Chads were being counted. I was actually in the room where the Chads were put up to the light and they were counted. So that was probably a very pinch me moment, because it was unbelievable that I was in the room as they were counting, these ballots. And then I was sent to Tallahassee because the Secretary of State is in Tallahassee, and then things got escalated on a state level at that point. Right. So, that was, I would say, the most memorable because we went from, and it felt like kind of a normal election day in a newsroom to, this isn't normal. And it was really, it was a lot.
Oh, very interesting. So in your job now, or just in general, in all the roles that you've had, what are your most favorite things and least favorite things about the business that you're in?
Yeah, so I love being a booking producer. It's a very specialized type of producer. I believe that it is the lifeline of a show. It's the lifeline of a piece. It's the lifeline of a network, essentially, because you are the one that is responsible for the experts on air. You are the one that's responsible for the guests, who are essentially, it's the storytelling. Otherwise, you have just a talent who's reading scripts. So, this allows you to get these interviews, and that is really, landing these big interviews has been the highlight of my career.
Yeah, I'm sure. And like you said, if you're competing with other networks all for the same guests, I'm sure there's ways of trying to convince them to really come to your network to give their expertise on a certain topic or individual, because without the guests, really, you don't really have much of a show, because then it's just the anchor talking, for the whole 45 minutes or an hour or however long the show is.
It's a lot of urgency.
Yes.
Everything is very urgent.
And all about contacts and connections, etc. So you had mentioned in your talk that you were involved in the Ionian.
Yes.
And you had started a section on food.
Yes.
And you were copy editor.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your experience with that. The Ionian is still active today. I myself was the news editor for the Ionian and then the advertising manager. But every issue I was writing something or covering something. So it's a great experience for students to take part in that. But tell us a little bit about your experience.
It was just a great experience for me. I loved the Ionian. It led to a lot of great friendships. It also allowed me to learn to write in a kind of a paper setting, for a paper setting, I should say. And I was able to be copy editor also. So that was, one of the tasks that I had. It was a great experience. We covered, everything that was going on campus. There were sports that were covered. There was photography. We were developing prints. I mean, that was pretty cool. We had the food blog, which we started. We had like this little budget where we could go to places and kind of critique it. And that was a lot of fun. So it was usually a few of the editors would go and we would do that. And then I would write up a critique.
Yeah.
I still have a few copies.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah, we have some
and
saved.
actually, if you go to the Iona website, they have all the old editions digitized.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how far back it goes, but they do have prior
Yeah,
issues
you
on
need
there.
to check it out.
Yeah. So, being that you're in your position right now, I'm sure you have the opportunity to hire some employees and interns. And if you are in that position, what types of qualities do you look for in an intern or an employee?
I think it's really important that students take away, no matter what field that they're going in, whether it's in a journalism field or business fields, whatever major, and job that they're seeking. I think work ethic really is so important and it's critical. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You don't have to be the one with the best GPA. You do have to be the one that works the hardest. And I think that's recognized by anybody, right? Like if you're looking for a job and you get the job and your employer sees that you're making the effort, I think that matters. And I think the work ethic and what, you put into the job is what you'll get out of it. And I think, people who are willing to work hard, willing to learn, critical thinker, someone who, is well-read on world events, I think that's really important.
Yeah, and that's great. That there are some students who they're studying broadcast media or journalism. They want that dream job right out of school. I want to be on camera right away. I want to be doing this, that, or the other thing right away. And in media, it doesn't always work like that.
Right.
And so what would you say? What would your advice be for if we have a senior right now graduating that wants to get into the media field?
I would say if you're a senior, I think the best thing to do is try to find those internships. And that doesn't mean they're here locally. You might have to go and be far from, wherever the comfort of your home is.
Yeah.
But I think those internships are really important. They kind of open the doors for you. They also allow you to figure out whether this is really what you want to do or what you don't want to do. And it gives you a different hands-on experience. And I think, it's not always easy to get an internship. Right? Like, it doesn't mean, go out and get an internship and you're going to get an internship. But I think if you can start there, I think that is a really great step. I really suggest it if you can get that.
Yeah.
Because you can learn a lot from the internships. And I think that's really the way to go. At least it was for me.
That's great. Now, looking back, is there anything that you would like to change if you could do it all over again?
I think I mentioned earlier, like the work-life balance in the beginning was, I put a lot into work, and I was always the one who would want to go in the field and do stuff. I think I would probably have pulled back a little bit, maybe not missed certain events with friends and things like that. I think that I might have changed a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. So just wrapping up, what types of books, podcasts, or TV shows would you recommend?
Would I recommend? Well, I love a good mystery. I'm a big news junkie. So if I'm not watching, a news program, I love to watch like lakefront homes, or I'll watch documentaries. I do love all different kinds of music. So music's like something I really love. And I do love to travel a lot. So I love seeing different things and going to different places.
What so far in all of your travels, where is your favorite place to go, or that you visited so far?
Yeah, so Italy's kind of, I feel like a second home for me because my family is from there. But I've been to Hawaii, and that's been super cool. We've been there 3 times and really love the culture and kind of the nature there. So I would say, between those 2 places, those are kind of my favorites.
That's great. So is there anything else that you'd like to add? Any other pieces of advice or any final words?
It's just been great being here on campus. Everybody's been really welcoming, and it's been nice to see the progression, the studio development, the control room. Those are big changes since 1996. So it's been nice to be here.
That's great. Well, Carmen, thank you very much for coming on. We appreciate it, and we hope to see you around campus again in the near future. So
thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. And thank you for listening to On the Rise podcast. I'm Matt Ricker. We'll see you next time. Take care.